In this podcast, I will be describing, explaining, and analyzing the effects of energy balance and its importance it has on sports performance. What is energy balance? Energy balance is all about maintaining the correct body weight. If you eat a lot of food and do minimal exercise, you will most likely gain weight. But if you burn more calories than you eat, you'll most likely lose weight. Energy balance is about finding the correct amount of intake and expenditure, which will help you maintain a healthy body weight. What is basal metabolism? Basal metabolism is the rate which the way an individual uses energy from calories in order to keep alive, help them function, and keep warm. Our body needs energy to survive, including our organs, heartbeat, breathing, and also digestion. Different kinds of people will need different energy in whatever situation they are doing. According to the basal metabolic rate (BMR) calculator, I should intake 2,327 calories a day so that I would have the energy that I need to stay alive, exercise, and keep warm. Whereas, for example, footballers like Cristiano Ronaldo, according to their BMR calculator, he would need to intake a massive 3,691 calories per day so that he could have the most energy he would need in order to participate in his sport and play at his highest performance. If Cristiano Ronaldo did not take around 3,691 calories per day, he would not have the correct amount of energy that he needs to play football, so this will have a big impact upon his performance due to the fact that he would not have the correct amount of energy that he needs. Ronaldo would get most of his calories from food that has high in carbohydrate. Carbohydrates would be high in energy kilocalories and help him gain 3,691 calories in total. He needs to eat as much food as he can to play a full 90 minutes intense game. But on the other hand, a non-professional athlete such as myself would not need as much calories as Cristiano Ronaldo. I take around 2,500 calories per day in order to survive and keep my body warm. The only time I would need to intake more calories is if I know that I would be playing an intense sport, which would use up more energy. My body uses those 2,500 calories in order to help my organs function properly and help keeping me warm. Calories are important when relating to sports performance. You would need calories to adjust your energy and basal metabolism so that you would play at your optimum level. You're probably thinking, how does age have an impact on our energy balance? Well, I'm going to tell you now. Our age has a big impact on how much energy we should intake and use. Our energy balance is much different from when we are babies, to children, to teenagers, adults, and when we are old. For example, when we are babies, we would need as much energy as we can in order to grow and develop our bodies and organs. We would need it more than old people. Old people would need a certain amount of energy just to keep them warm and help them stay alive. They will not be growing anymore, so the energy intake will be much different to babies. It is important that we are taking a relatively decent amount of energy so that we can grow and survive. By the time we reach 30 years old, our BMR drops 2% every 10 years, so our energy intake will be lower when we are older. A sporting example which shows that different people would require different energy balance is footballers Ryan Giggs and Adnan Januzaj. Ryan Giggs is a 39-year-old male. Seeing as he is older, his BMR has dropped, which means that he would intake less amount of energy. He may eat the same amount of calories as Adnan Januzaj, but the way he would use the energy will be much different to Adnan Januzaj. Whereas Januzaj is an 18-year-old male. He is still growing and developing, which would mean that for him to play football at his best, he would need to intake more calories and use up more of his energy in order to play at optimum peak. Both of these players are excellent footballers. They may have 21 years different gap, but the older a person is, the less energy they would be using up in their sport. Age is important when relating it to sport. As you get older, you wouldn't use up as much energy as you did when you were younger. Due to the fact that your metabolism drops by 2%, it would affect your sports performance because you wouldn't be able to perform your best and you wouldn't be as fast as you were when you were younger. Now we go on to gender. Gender has a big impact upon how much energy we should intake. Male energy balances are much different to female energy balances due to the fact that males have a greater and higher BMR from having bigger muscle mass than females. This means that males will have a higher calorie intake than females because males frequently need energy in our everyday lives. The table below shows the average of how many calories a male and female should intake when participating in physical activities sessions. For example, an average 19 to 20-year-old male would need to intake 2,600 calories per day in order to survive, whereas an average 19 to 20-year-old female would need to intake 1,800 calories per day so that they can survive. A sporting example that shows that gender has an impact on our energy is professional tennis players Serena Williams and Roger Federer. Serena Williams will need an intake of 2,800 calories in order to perform at optimum level. She will need to have as much energy possible to perform well throughout the whole tennis game. On the other hand, Roger Federer will need a calorie intake of 3,680 calories. He will need as much as he can in order to play the best he can. He would naturally use up more energy than Serena due to the fact that males have a higher muscle mass than females. Gender is important when relating it to sport. Even though men and women are equally the same, men would use up more energy due to the fact that men are naturally have bigger muscle mass than females. This would mean that in any type of sport, men will have more intense game than females. This can be seen by how many calories they intake and also burn off after the game of sport. Climate has a major impact on how much energy we should intake in our body. The BMR of people that live in hot countries is usually 5 to 20% higher than people who don't live in hotter countries. This is because living in hotter places will use up more energy in order to keep the body calm and cool. When we are performing exercises or playing in any types of sport in hot weather, our metabolic load increases rapidly due to the fact that it is using energy to keep our body cooler when in hot situations. However, when we are in cool and cold situations, our energy is also used to keep our body warm. We usually try and keep our body moving by walking around or running around. A sporting example that shows climate control has an impact on our energy balances is a professional footballer. Professional footballers have to train their body to work in different climate situations. If they are playing in cold situations and they have to move to a hot climate, they would need to get used to it before playing in hot climate destinations. Footballers would burn off more calories due to the fact that they would need to keep their body cool in hot climates, seeing as they are playing for 90 minutes. Whereas a non-professional and average male like myself, if I was able to play sports in cold climate, I would use up my calories and energy to keep my body warm and make sure that it's not cold. In order to keep my body warm, I would need to use up my energy stores and calories so that my body would not be cold. Climate is important when relating it to sport. Our body needs to adapt to new situations and climate every time. This is why professional sport athletes train their body to adapt to the climate before they play their match. So a few days or weeks earlier before their match, they will try to get used to the climate that they are in. If they cannot get used to it, then it could have an impact upon their performance. Physical activity has an impact upon how much energy we need to intake in our body. Males and females usually participate in any physical activity sessions to stay fit, healthy, and also to lose and burn off any outstanding amount of calories. They may also participate in any physical activity for recreational purposes, such as to have fun and entertain themselves, they may use to burn off calories. Different people may burn off different amount of calories due to the fact that they may weigh differently or be a certain height. For example, a male will lose more calories than females due to the fact that most males will be more active and lively, which would mean that they would lose more calories than females. A sporting example that shows physical activity uses up our energy is in swimming. Professional swimmers would need to be as fit as they can in order to swim at fast pace and win. They will need to participate in any type of physical activity to help them stay fit. Another sporting example that shows physical activity uses up our energy is in cycling. Professional cyclists will need to be as healthy as fit as they can. This is because cycling competitions such as Tour de France last a very long time and you would need to be fit in order to last long. Physical activity would help this because you'll be training regularly and helping your body maintain a healthy lifestyle, which would help you last longer when cycling. Another last sporting example that would show physical activity use up our energy is in basketball. Basketball players include a lot of running up and down the court non-stop. You need to be really healthy. This is why professional basketball players participate in any type of physical activity to maintain a healthy lifestyle and enhance their performance when playing matches.